I'm Heidi Rader, here in the Alaska Garden. I'm an associate professor of extension with the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and I'm going to talk all about growing vegetables, flowers, and berries productively and sustainably in Alaska. In this video, I'm going to talk with Jeff Bringhurst all about the greenhouse and farm started in 2008 here in the remote community of Igiugig, Alaska. Igiugig is located on Lake Iliamna and the Igiugig River. The Alaska Marketplace helped get the project off the ground in 2008 with the intent of selling produce to local fishing lodges. We're going to start with a tour of the greenhouse built in 2008. So Jeff, can you tell us what you're growing here in the greenhouse and what you've got going on with these beds?
Yeah, we've got, this greenhouse gets really hot in the summertime. We've had a really pretty cool and rainy summer this year, but on a sunny day, the ventilation fans here are running constantly. So we're able to grow some hot peppers. We've got a few different varieties. We've got some habaneros and some yellow wax peppers. And then a pepper that somebody gave me some seeds for that's it's a cross between a yellow pepper and purple pepper. And they're really tasty. And then we got, I think, 5 different varieties of tomatoes in here. And hopefully we have enough sunshine left in the season to make a lot of these ripen up. Lots of cucumbers, mostly pickling types, and then a few different squashes, zucchinis, and that's kind of our main fare.
The farm and greenhouse in Igiugig is all organic. They make compost with food scraps from local fishing lodges, as well as grass clippings and a little bit of fish scraps. They sell produce to about 70 residents in Igiugig each week. Any leftovers are turned into a meal that is also sold. They rely on WWOOFers for additional labor. What are some of the biggest challenges with growing out here, like pests or supplies?
Yeah, there's lots of challenges to growing in, the remote parts of Alaska. This year we've been doing some major battling with cutworms. We didn't know we were infested until we planted our seedlings this year, and they took out about 2/3 of our seedlings, so we had to start again. Slugs are starting to creep into our property here, and then bears. Bears come around and they make a mess of things. They knock down our fence around our compost area and make a mess out there. And even in the springtime, when I'm planting outside, if there's not much that's green out yet, the bears will come in and just mow down everything.
What are your hopes and dreams for a number of greenhouses, or what do you think you would like to increase your capacity to here?
We're working on being able to sell a reliable fare of produce to the lodges. I think that's the next step for us. Growing our outdoor space so that we can do that, and then my other project that I'd really like to get going here in the next couple of years is having a root cellar. So I have a huge 30,000 gallon fuel tank in the back that I've been cleaning out and getting prepped for that, and hopefully we'll bury that and insulate it and have that as a root cellar.
Exciting. So you've got a couple of these high tunnels here where you're growing in the ground?
Yeah. We built these in 2016 through the NRCS CLIP grant, and they've been a great addition, and so far, snow load or wind hasn't taken them down yet. So.
Do you have to clear them off in the winter?
I don't. This particular design, these are the East Point ones, and they shed snow really nicely with this kind of apex roof. I've seen pictures from other people's high tunnels around the state that are just kind of the half
Quonset
dome.
head shaped.
Yeah, and those look a little rougher to clear off, but these shed nicely.
That's great. And what company do you buy them through?
I got them through Kenai Feed in
Okay.
Soldotna.
So like probably a Rymal.
Oh yeah, it is a
greenhouse.
Rymal. Yeah.
Great. And so as opposed to the greenhouse, you were in raised beds on a cement slab, and here you're just growing right in the ground. More of a cool season crop, so it's a little cooler in here.
Yeah, we do more cool season in here because we're able to roll up these sides on here and get quite a bit of airflow in here. I had stolen all my outdoor soil to plant an apple orchard that's just down the road there. So pretty much anything cool season is growing in here right now.
Which sometimes you might grow outside as well.
Correct, yeah, like these cabbages and the kale, even some of the lettuces. We grow this black Tuscany kale, which is a big hit, and it's a little bit different consistency and texture than the red Russian. Grows really well here. We make a lot of Suppa Toscana, I think they call it. We just call it kale soup, which is like a creamy soup with sausage and potatoes, and the more kale in it, the better.
What about in things like moose soup? Are you incorporating some of these vegetables into?
Yeah. So when we're really in the height of selling vegetables, there may be too much greens for sale, but there's no problem in just chopping this up. I'll mix it with spinach or any other kind of greens, and then just chop them all and mix them, put them in a Ziploc in the freezer, and then you can just grab a double handful and throw it in your soup.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you blanch it first or just throw it straight in?
I don't. It's too much of a pain.
Yeah, it is kind of a pain.
It seems to keep really well. Just as long as I think some of these thicker types of greens like this just do pretty well.
Right.
I don't have a supply of them all through the winter. They go pretty quick.
Yeah. What about potatoes? Are you growing potatoes?
Not right now, just because I robbed all my soil and I had to figure out what was not going to get planted this year. And with potatoes, I feel like you if you're going to do them, you want a huge crop of them, because I'm feeding the whole village, and so we just didn't have the space to do a big bunch, but we will next year for sure.
I also don't grow potatoes just because I'd much rather have this the fresh stuff, and it's easy to, I don't know, buy a bag of potatoes and it'll keep pretty well. So
Yeah.
I definitely prioritize fresh things as well too. So what is the most sought after crop that you grow here in the village?
Now that we're growing carrots, I think it's that.
Yeah.
You see people walk away from our food sale days with just handfuls of carrots. They're gone really quick. If you're not there in the first 5 minutes, then the carrots are gone. What else? The snap peas are a big hit. Tomatoes, for sure.
What about kale? Is kale
Yeah,
something
kale's a
people are
staple.
getting?
People have really learned how to cook with that. A lot of people had never really even heard of it or used it before we started growing it out here, and we've done a number of food events where we're cooking with kale in different ways, adding it in soups and whatnot. So now people know how to use it, and they're buying it on a regular basis. This is a new addition. I've had it for 1.5 years, and this makes me smile every time I come in. I've wanted to shop for a long time and finally got it recently. And so in the past, I had all my seedlings that I was trying to start in springtime, and I would just put them next to anybody's window who would take them in the school, had the school kids taking care of them, which is great too. But now it's nice to really have a centralized area that I can control the heat, I can control the light, and someplace I can work on stuff in the winter too. Just bring in pieces of equipment and get it the attention it needs from season to season. So it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of grow lights do you have over here?
I got them from Southside Garden Supply. They're ROI 680s, I believe, is the brand, and they're
LED.
LED. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And is this powered by the wind turbines at all, or this is just on separate?
Yeah, the shop is all, everything on the premises here feeds right into the grid. So yeah, we're actually turning back power a little bit most of the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And looks like you've harvested some nice garlic here.
Yeah, those came out of the ground I think about a week ago. So every time I come here to work, it's pungent. I love it. I can't wait to start eating it. Yeah.
Early September.
It's moose season, so I can't wait to be putting some of this in moose stew.
Yum.
Yeah.
And this was all grown in your greenhouse?
In the high tunnels, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a little bit less than we thought we were going to have. We had some magpies come in there right after we planted, and I don't know what they were doing, but they sure like to tear all the little cloves out of the ground.
Mm. And what variety are you growing, or varieties?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Chestnut garlic, Georgia fire, Matechi, Romanian red music, so quite a variety here.
Yeah, some of them came from Synergy Farms in Homer. And then somebody I have working here also ordered some online.
Mm-hmm. Do you do a lot of testing of varieties? Which varieties work well, or how do you figure that out?
Garlic I'm only in like my third year of growing garlic, so yeah, we're trying to figure that out. What people like the best, what goes best in what people cook here, and what's growing well in our soils. So yeah, we're still figuring that out.
So it sounds like you've had some challenges starting seeds and different things have come up. What are some of your challenges with starting your seeds?
Well, I didn't grow up a farmer, so I'm learning all this myself. I've been doing this for 7 years now. So I definitely have my share of mistakes sometimes. We were talking about these grow lights, and when I first I had never grown with grow lights. I've always just grown in windows the best I could. And so when I purchased these, I had my seedlings started, and I thought, well, the more light, the better, so I lowered the grow lights to about 18 inches off the top of the seedlings, and I turned them up full blast. And it didn't take but 2 days until those seedlings were all fried.
Sad.
And then that year was particularly problem ridden because I planted a whole new round of seedlings and had them all in the same place. And I came up there one day and all of the seedlings had been cut with scissors, and they were ruined. And come to find out, my little 2-year-old who likes to help me around the garden, she had witnessed myself and her mom pruning plants before, and she thought she was being helpful, and so she went and pruned down all my seedlings, and so we got a pretty late start that year. Garlic, like last fall we planted the garlic and we mulched it and everything, and for some reason the magpies came in and we should have had double this harvest this year, but the magpies came in and just wreaked havoc for some reason. Maybe they were looking
with
for
the
those.
sprouts, pulled out the sprouts, or even before they'd come up.
Before they'd even come up, yeah.
And they can just come in the high tunnels. There's enough.
They can't anymore. We put up some herring fishing net to keep the birds out of there now. So live and learn. It's always something year to year.
And then you also have some problems with voles, or? Yeah,
voles. They're ever present, and the reason I don't try to manage the magpies too much is because they're pretty good mousers. They like to go after the voles, so.
Yeah.
which one does the worst damage, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's a challenge. Did you get chickens right when you got the greenhouse, or how long have you had the chickens for?
The village has had chickens since Christina was a little girl. She took care of chickens, and we've had these for quite a while. This is actually a new batch. We got them from Polaris Poultry, who brings up their chicks from Washington, a little day old. These are called Sapphire Sussex.
Okay.
And they just started laying like 2 weeks ago, so we're getting little bitty eggs, and somebody cracked one yesterday and it had 3 yolks in it.
Oh,
so
wow.
they're trying to figure out the rhythm there.
Beautiful.
We get the eggs and we sell those. Elders get free eggs, and people low income, we make sure they get some too.
What's the biggest challenge with having chickens out here?
Feed cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So before these came out for the winter, I grew a mix of oats and vetch and peas in here that they've just devoured. So I'll probably end up making a bigger outdoor area for them that I can rotate them in between, so they can have some summer forage and I don't have to spend so much on feed. But
Great.
we had a bear get in there once, but for the most part, bears leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the orchard planted last fall. We got the whips from a orchard up in Fairbanks, and we ended up choosing 17 different varieties of apples here to see what grows best in Igiugig, So, and then we have 40 trees of 17 different varieties, and they're all planted in kind of a way that they can cross-pollinate each other and everything. And then we also have 20 haskap or honeyberry bushes up at the top, and we are growing on the side of our landfill, which is, it is what it is. But we were looking for a little bit of a south-facing slope where our trees would get the most sunshine, and also use the slope as a little bit of a windbreak, because once they get bigger and get laden with apples, I'm pretty worried about the wind breaking branches. So we'll see. This is year 1.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing your knowledge with us. Is there anything, any advice you might have for another village who wants to do something similar to what you've done here?
Yeah, just start. If you came to Igiugig in 2000, we just had a small potato field and a few chickens, and this is just steady year to year, a little bit more. I'm a dreamer. I love to imagine what this place will be like 10 years, 20 years from now. But I go year to year and I look back at my progress as like, I've only done this much, but it's grown quite a bit, and it's doing good things for our community. So yeah, you got to start somewhere.
That's great. Well, thank you so much.